Ooh, it looks like we're gonna have ourselves a witch showdown. Or maybe not. Maybe this is actually HoloLive? Yeah, it's looking like HoloLive. Okay. I've seen a lot of people playing HoloLive, or I've heard of a lot of people playing HoloLive with OTT. Very interested to see what that looks like. But hey, everyone, it's Curly. We are taking a look at Shadow Witches today. Since we are striding second, we can ride into this, and we already have stride fodder. We can keep that guy for later. We can, probably shouldn't put that there, but that's fine. Yeah, witches are an archetype in Shadow Paladin as well as Oracle Think Tank. They didn't receive a lot of support in at least Vanguard 0 as a whole, but in Fighters Collection 2, they did receive a brand new stride, as well as a brand new grade 2 here that helps them out quite a lot. And the main sort of focus of this build specifically is to just use that stride and not do any of the Legion stuff whatsoever. Because I find that to be highly costly and inconsistent. Not to mention the fact that witches by themselves are very costly, as you can tell by the fact that I'm playing stuff like this grade 1 that sacks this off just to, you know, countercharge. Because for most of this stuff I need to counterblast too, which costs a lot. So it's going to be very difficult for me to actually get any of my skills off, but we'll see how we can do that. And it's also why I feel like they redid her lines because they don't sound as McDonald-y as before. We're playing stuff like this guy, which lets you countercharge 2. So you have to go to those drastic measures. But essentially what the Witch Stride does is, if you have a heart card that is a witch, and your opponent has 2 or more grade 0s on board, you can counterblast 1, reveal 10 cards from the top of your opponent's deck, and choose 1 trigger, grade 3 or 0, and place it as your opponent's Vanguard for that turn. Then in addition to that, if they want to guard that turn, they have to counterblast 1. So those skills are both very, very nice. We're using the Hrati skin here. I was going to originally use Raika, but Hrati has the animation for Fianna, and she's fucking beautiful, so we're going to stick to her. We are unfortunately striding second, which isn't as bad as it was with OTT Witches, but it's definitely not ideal. We can, like, retire intercepts and stuff, so when they set up a board we can kind of deal with it in a way that gets around resist as well. So, but this is going to be Sakaramiko, which they're going to have a pretty rough time, I think. Possibly with Shadow Witches here. Sakaramiko is, of course, or Mikomet or HoloLive, whatever, is a new deck that we have, you know, from the collaboration here. They have this ability that lets them stride for free if they have a certain card in their soul. Then they can go ahead and right now swing in here and get 4 attacks. Unfortunately, they are going to get rid of the grade 0, which kind of sucks. That's probably one of the things why you want to stride first, but the thing is, a lot of people play their starters and leave them on board, so we're able to pretty easily go ahead and just use 1 skill to get a grade 0 on board, and then we fulfill the requirement for a stride, which is nice. But we are going to have to work a little bit hard here. We do have the cards for it, but we're definitely going to need this guy to attack. Otherwise we're not going to be able to do anything. And we need them to push us to 5, so this crit is very much appreciated. That second one, not as much, because we're dead. Okay, never mind. We're still in this, and we can clap back. That's drastically exactly what I needed. So, alright. Let's go ahead and stride the Vanguard here. or the generation, whatever, same nonsense. So we're gonna go into Sinclair here. We're going to have to use this thing here. We unfortunately didn't have any counterblast, so we can't use that. We are going to retire this here. Because we need to make up a lot of damage here. Alright, let's try and use this one. This one gives me for free, there we go. Let's put it right here. So this is the second new card here that says if you have a witch, and if you either have a heart card and a stride, or if you're on Legion, is basically how this says it. You can look at top 5. If there's a trigger, place it on one of your opponent's rear guard circles that's occupied. It has to be occupied. So let's go ahead and use now Sinclair, who's going to look at top 10. Force them to ride Takanamiko, but grade 0 here. We're going to go ahead and bring out this guy, because we need to get our counterblast back. We're going to leave the grade 1 outside, also because I really need that. So next turn I can stride. Sorry, next turn I can countercharge, is what I'm trying to say. And then we can swing in here. And if my opponent wants to guard here, they will have to counterblast one. But I guess they didn't have any guard? That was by far the weirdest match I've ever had. So here is my build. You can, similar to the Oracle Think Tank witches, you can mess around with this as much as you'd like. We can skip over the starter because I'm actually not running any Legion mates, so I can't actually Legion. So this starter is completely dead. I just couldn't really decide on anything that was useful. I might just swap this out for like the... Actually, I can't even use the Limit Break ones, right? Because you don't have Limit Break. But like, if you have a Limit Break, put it in Soul and draw one. I don't know. But it's a booster that has resist, so it stays on board. But we'll probably swap that out for something else. For the grade 1s, we're playing 3 copies of the Stride Fodder. Because I need to make space for this guy, which is actually pretty cool. This is Drag Wizard Midir. The ritual part doesn't really matter for us, but it says that at the start of your main phase, Soul Blast 1, retire this unit, countercharge 1. So what's this countercharge? We use a lot of counterblasts in this deck, so this is very much needed. Because this, in combination with Knight of Blue Flash Adolf here, we can actually get a lot of countercharge back. So, very good. Then finally we have last grade 1 here, aside from the PG, which also lets us countercharge, is Witch of Precious Stones Dana here. Dana is a card that I got, similar to Coco last time. I got this multiple times, and whatever set it was that she was and I got so many copies of her, and I think I also got SPs of her, but I ended up unfortunately deconstructing them in the past, so I can't bling her out right now. But she says, when placed, if your Vanguard is a Witch, counterblast 2, choose a card with a trigger from your opponent's drop, and then play it on one of your opponent's occupied rearguard circle. So that's one of the biggest weaknesses for Shadow Witches, is that it has to be occupied. You can't just play it on your opponent's board, which is a bit unfortunate. And regardless of what the card is, it becomes 5k grade 0 with boost. So this is one of the more guaranteed ways to get your grade 0s out, because it's from your drop, whereas you don't have to hit from the top 5, as the new card here, Witch of Intelligence, Dehatail does. But unfortunately, Dehatail is free. So she says, when placed, if you have 2 or more cards with Witch in their original card name on Vanguard, or Heart cards. So if you stride and have a Witch Heart, it counts. Then you look at top 5, pick a trigger from there, put it on one of your opponent's occupied rearguard circle, it becomes grade 0 with boost and 5k. So this one is free, which is really good. But of course, it's top 5, so there's chances of whiff. Then we went over this guy. He just lets us countercharge so we can stay in the game. We have 1 copy of this Witch, which also lets us countercharge. You can make this into something else if you'd like as well. I've really never been able to use her. I usually just aim for this guy, but I do have the option, and she also Witch name, which doesn't really matter too much. It's not like OTT where you need witches. So honestly, you can strip most of the Witch stuff aside from the ones that let you play grade 0s. That's all that really matters. Then our grade 1 or grade 2 version of Dana here is the Inspection Witch Deirdre. She does the same thing, counterblast 2, look at something from your drop, put it into your, I think it's at random, right? Yeah, at random, put it onto your opponent's field and overcall it. So that's how we can get over resist and anything like that. But basically also in general just lets us have like 3 attacks at face because we wipe out intercepts. We play 4 copies of Mesmerizing Witch Fianna, her skill does not matter because we're never going to use it. And then we play 4 copies of the Cultist Witch Rhea. She actually does Legion with Yeidri. So we actually can Legion in this build. I just always go into Fiona because she's pretty. But we can Legion. That is an option, assuming you don't run into Narukami. And then we just play one of the Clarence Sword Dragon just in case we get a grade stuck. Or we just don't get grade 3s. We can search that out with the Stride Fodder. But finally, the main important card here is Witch Queen of Transfiguration Sinclair. So, once per turn, if you have a Witch Heart card and your opponent has 2 or more grade 0 rear guards, you can counterblast 1 to reveal the top 10 cards from your opponent's deck. Choose a trigger at random, and your opponent rides it. That becomes their Vanguard. It becomes grade 0, 5k, and boost. No ability. Then, your opponent has to pay counterblast 1 if they want to guard until the end of the turn. So, a lot of things about this. This first skill where it searches for top 10, if you whiff that, this second part still applies. Your opponent still has to pay counterblast 1 in order to guard. So you can still go into this late game, even if your opponent's out of triggers, you whiff, they still will have to pay the counterblast to guard, or they will not be able to guard. The second part of this skill says, at the start of your opponent's next turn, your opponent rides a card from their soul. Your opponent's abilities do not activate from this effect's ride. Again, if you whiff, your opponent still has to then ride a card from their soul. Which is kind of nuts. I was fighting a Gear Chronicle player who was on their like Chrono Jet. I whiffed, and then next turn they had to ride their grade 1 from their deck. Then after that, they just rode into grade 2 because they had nothing that they could do, and they just kind of lost after that because obviously it was so late in the game, and now they got pushed all the way back. So that part is kind of insane. And this skill is very interesting because it does give your opponent like +1 soul every turn if you do hit the grade 0. But if, for example, they only have just a grade 1 in soul, then they're kind of screwed. So this is very interesting. The second part of this skill is very interesting how it works. It's supposed to just only work to make your opponent be able to go back to the grade 3, but the way that it's programmed and the way that it's worded, it's a little bit different. Wasn't really planning on doing all the witches in a row like this, but so far we've done OTT and now Shadow Paladin witches. I'll see if I can do Genesis witches next, just for the fact that, you know, we've boring first is trash, my friend. Just for the sake of, I guess, consistency or whatever the case may be. We're playing against Neonectar, so this is going to be kind of interesting because again, we can get around resist. This does not choose a unit. Because it goes to rearguard circle, not a unit. So you can't get around resist, which is really nice. Unfortunately, we do not have the best hand here at all, to be honest with you. Let's hope that we can draw into this. Okay, kind of wish I kept one of the Yadri, but that's fine. It is going to be not Musketeers like last time, but actually going to be Asha, presumably. So let's go ahead and write our Stride Fodder here. I usually like to call this to the side, but it doesn't really matter. Especially in this matchup. But it's just nice to have a resist. In general, this doesn't really do too much. It just calls out random cards from outside of your deck, and one of those cards can countercharge. So it's not a very good starter at all. I just didn't really find anything else that I can make use of. So I just stuck to this one because of the resist. We don't retire, so we can't use any of the like newer starters that count as like 2 cards or whatever, or go to your soul or anything like that. They are going to bring out the Asha here, or the 3 Asha I should say, sorry. Unfortunately we can't do too much just yet. I do have Stride Fodder, so typically what I like to do against Asha is just wear down their board to force them to play more units in combination with rushing them when I can. So let's see if we can accomplish both, getting rid of that Pia so we can't put stuff back, and now pushing them a little bit, making them lose a PG. Had we been able to stride first, we'd be in a really good spot, but unfortunately that's not the case. And I believe we can't even I don't remember how the Legion rules work, but I'm pretty sure we can't Legion until it's the 4th turn also, so... We'll see how this goes. We are able to not take any damage this turn, which is very nice. We'll be able to kill off 3 as well, which is very nice. We are going to be unprotected next turn because we have no intercepts. So hopefully we can hit a draw trigger into one of our other witches. That would be great. Because right now we really don't have anything for next turn other than just Stride Fodder and Yandri. But since they got rid of their grade 0, we're in a rough spot. We're going to get another Fiona, which does not really do much for us right now. They're unfortunately going to be able to heal out the PG, which they can then put back in the deck. Let's see what Asha they're going to. This is looking like the classic build for Asha 3. I haven't seen any of the new cards yet, which is good because I'm not familiar with any of the new cards. They're going to hard stride here, discarding another PG, so that's 2 PGs out of the deck. And they're going to go into their usual multivitamin dragon turn. Hopefully they don't have a 3 in hand, because then they're going to be able to call out another one. But more than likely they do. If they do the dumb play that some players do, where they immediately fill out their boards with 3s, I can retire some of them. Specifically this one. Next turn, because they do have... Ooh, they actually don't have any triggers. Ugh. So I might not be able to do this. They're bound to check a trigger this turn. Otherwise, if for whatever unfortunate reason they actually hit a bunch of dry checks, we're in a pretty rough spot. I've never wanted my opponent to hit triggers so much in my life. Well, hey, let's see how this goes. So you're going to swing in first here and draw 3 cards. Oh, they don't have the counterblast. That's right. That is right. I almost forgot about that. Come on, hit a trigger. There we go. Thankfully, it is just a regular trigger. Nothing too crazy, so they're not going to be able to do too much with that. So we can at least get rid of this 3, but we have no way at the moment to do our thing. There we go. We're not going to be able to... We can get rid of the 3s, but we can't do anything too crazy. Unless I can... I guess I'll keep this because I can take off a Legion with her. We can't go ahead and use Sinclair's skill here, which is a bit unfortunate. Either way, we can only use one of these. So I guess let's just protect ourselves here. Use this skill to kill all this off. And then we can just get rid of all of their intercepts. So this way all their 3s go to the drop. And assuming it is still the older version 3M, or not 3M, but Asha, they shouldn't really have any ways to bring them back, aside from like a Pia, but they can't like Jingle Flower next turn is what I'm trying to say. There's yet another PG here. So they have 3 PGs out, 2 3s in the drop. They have 1 at the bottom of their deck, so they have at most 1 3 left here. They can try and Jiggle Flower me, but I have my 2 Donnas here that I can actually use next turn, completely wipe out their Jingle Flower turn, because I can target whatever it is that they bring out. That tells me that they probably don't have any 3s, otherwise they would have just gone for Jingle Flower. Instead, they're going to use this to call something from hand. Let's see what it is. It is going to be the grade 3 Asha. And call it another Asha. Alright. Does this still have the name of the unit? Yeah, it still has the name. So you can use this skill to call out another one, I guess, and attack from the back row if you want. Not so sure. I ain't so sure about that one, Chief, but okay. They do already have triggers out, and they already have a grade 0, which is nice, because they decided not to overcall it. There's another 3 at the bottom. It might be the same 3 because they do shuffle their deck a lot. We're gonna hit a huge trigger, which is kind of nice. So now we can actually get to have some fun here. We don't have a great hand here, but we can go ahead and stride here. They can very easily wipe us out next turn if they manage to like Jingle Flower or something like that. They should have a trigger. They do not have any triggers. How is this even possible? I can't even use it because they have no triggers in their drop. Wow. That is bananas. Alright, well, we're just gonna have to swing in here. Of course, now they get a trigger after the fact, but whatever. Alright, that PG does help, so we can stay alive next turn. We can push him to 4. And they did not get a draw trigger, which is good. So they did not get a bunch of resources back to hand here. We've effectively neutered them because they weren't able to get the free draws from the grade 2. And they weren't able to go into Jingle Flower immediately. Let's see what they do here. Even again, if they 3-out, we can blow it up. No matter what it is. You can call out 2 of those, that's fine. We should be able to survive. We just don't have a way to stride next turn at the moment. Unless we have to hard stride, but we need literally anything else that's not a heal guard next turn in order to make that possible. What did you do now? Did you use a skill to counterblast Soul Blast? Oh, use the skill to counterblast Soul Blast just to get power. Alright, and this must be a new player. Because they put this skill here on the front row. Which is not going to be able to do anything once it's, you know, once I attack into it. You can't use your Jingle 3-out stuff. You would have been better off hitting it, you know, one of these, but you have more copies of this, so you actually would have gotten a bigger power buff, but, alright, whatever. C'est la vie. We're going to go ahead and stride here. 2 very weird matches for this video, but hey. Gonna go into Sinclair. We'll use DeAndre because we need, unfortunately, it doesn't have a resist, which is kind of funny. Then let's go ahead and use Sinclair here. See if we can set them back or make them ride into something silly. Okay, that's fine. I was kind of hoping we could set them back. So we'll play this, no skill, and we'll play this, no skill, as much as I would rather not do that. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So now, we're going to attack here, and then if they want to activate their last PG, or 2 heal guards, they're going to have to counterblast 1 to do so. And we're going to have to draw trigger, good god. So now they just have at most the 1 counterblast. I believe this is counterblast 1? No, this is for free. Damn. Is Jingle Flower at least counterblast? No, he's just free. Stupid ass game. Alright, let's see how this goes. They're obviously gonna go into Asha. And I can do this one more time. They're going to run out of triggers, to be honest. Next turn. So we might be able to see it where they have to ride into a grade 1. But we'll see. I think that'll only happen if they heal here. Then we'll be able to see that, because they'll be able to last long enough. And then next turn, I mean, granted, my hand is garbage, so they might just get it just cuz. But to be honest, well, we'll see, because I might not be able to finish them off. And swing in. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any of her this game. We do see her now. We're going to our last Sinclair here. They have 1 grade 3 somewhere, and then 2 heals. Let's see if we can grab one of those. Let's go ahead and throw out E-Tail. Yep, there we go. And let's get rid of this. Now let's go ahead and do Sinclair. Up, we whiffed. I could... For the sake of it... It's a show you guys how it works? Do I want to show you guys how it works? I might lose here, but all right. Let's attack into this. All right, and then what do they have in Soul? Yeah. Let's pass turn, just to show you what happens. So then Sinclair's skill still activates, even though I did not hit any grade 0s. And now they will presumably ride the grade 3, but it's gonna not be an Asha, so everyone just gets all weak. And they're just stuck on that. And they have, presumably, nothing left, just 2 heals in hand, and that's about it. We might end up losing this, just for me doing that, because they can very easily swing in here, call something out here. We'll still be alive, but we probably can't do anything next turn. But I just wanted to show you guys that. That Sinclair can do that. Had I whiffed beforehand and not hit this grade 3, or if it was a grade 0, then they would have been forced to ride a grade 1 or 2. But they just managed to have another grade 3 in deck. They're gonna call this out. They're gonna give us free counter boss, which is nice. We're not gonna be able to Sinclair because we're out of Sinclairs. We can't Legion because we don't have Legion. Let's just go ahead and do this. Overcall this. They presumably have the last 2 heals in hand. We'll do this because, I mean, we're dead either way. Let's just go ahead and swing in here. Heal guard. We don't have any triggers, right? Yeah. Swing in here. Heal guard. And then swing in here for game. And that's it. That's how Sinclair works. She's pretty nasty if you can get it off. The difficulty is having those grade 0s out. Like I said, most people still have their starter out, so if you can make use of that, especially if you go first, it's very easy and you can put your opponent in a very tough situation, even if you whiff. But in any case, hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourself, play Vanguard, and have yourself a damn good one.